Hello, my dear friends, and thank you for giving up your time to watch this short video. An unusual title, I might add. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Oh, how true, how very true. And again, how many times have you said that? Or heard another say, sure, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. In divine service, as an enclosed contemplative Franciscan monk, living that simple life from my own monastery without walls, I have to agree with the theme. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. But you know, though there are times when I get so utterly disheartened and fed up with myself, when I become battle weary from dealing with issues that I thought I had resolved. But you know, the older we get, the more vulnerable I believe we become. And if we were to turn it on its head, there is a plus side, because there's a saying that God tests the ones he loves. But we don't get disheartened. We must never get disheartened. And there have been so many times when I start the day after prayer with the right intention, but then when I come to the examen of conscience late in the evening, when most of the world has gone to bed, and I sit here alone with my master, and I recap over the day, I realize, yes, my intentions were honorable, but my flesh is weak. But again, if we were to read in St. Paul, the thorn in the flesh, he too battled each day with his own weakness, as did all the great saints. None of them were immune from battle weariness. And I suppose we have to take heart from their examples, and we only have to look at Francis, a womanizer, a man who liked the fine things of life. That's until he became a soldier and then was locked up in prison. And that was the only place where God could speak to him, where he was blinded and he had to see what God had planned for him. And when his heart guided him to the little church called San Damiano in Assisi, there as he was guided to kneel before the crucified Christ, he realized that yes, the spirit is indeed willing and the flesh weak, but he became aware that when you surrender your heart to God, something of a transformative nature takes over. There is an indwelling of the Holy Spirit within the heart. And God said to Francis, rebuild my church. And how prophetic was that? Because in the 13th century, as we know from the history books, the church was corrupt. It had lost sight of its vision. Its spirit was strong, but in its humanity it failed hands down. But we take heart. And when we look at Martin Luther King, the great Archbishop Romero, Brother Roger of Taizé, who founded that wonderful ecumenical Christian community, we all battle with weariness. Even though our hearts are aligned to that of God, we each face the test every day that we live. And each day the knock comes on the door where there's another test. But it's true, isn't it, that they say that as you resolve one problem, there are 3 more waiting in the wings. But you know, I get great comfort from prayer. from just sitting alone in silence with my God and allowing the voice of my Jesus speak to my heart. And sometimes I'm guided to just put my hand out and touch a book, or open the Holy Bible and look at the Psalms, the beautiful Psalms, Psalms of the soul, hymns of the soul. They sing and shout a positive message of love. But now I'm going to read, if I may, from the beautiful book, De Benedictus, a book of blessings by John O'Donoghue. And this is for the one who is exhausted. When the rhythm of the heart becomes hectic, time takes on the strain until it breaks. Then all the unattended stress falls in on the soul like an endless, increasing weight. The light in the mind becomes dim. Things you could take in your stride before now become laborsome events of will. Weariness invades your spirit. Gravity begins falling inside you, dragging down every bone. The tide you never valued has gone out, and you are marooned on onshore ground. Something within you has closed down, and you cannot push yourself back to life. You have been forced to enter empty time. The desire that drove you has relinquished. There is nothing else to do now but rest and patiently learn to receive the self you have forsaken in the race of days. At first your thinking will darken and sadness take over like listless weather. The flow of unwept tears will frighten you. You have travelled too fast over false ground. Now your soul has come to take you back. Take refuge in your senses, open up to all the small miracles you rushed through. Become inclined to watch the way of rain when it falls slow and free. Imitate the habit of twilight, taking time to open the well of colour that fostered the brightness of day. Draw alongside the silence of stone until its calmness can calm you. Be excessively gentle with yourself. Stay clear of those vexed in spirit. Excuse me. Learn to linger around someone of ease who feels they have all the time in the world. Gradually, you will return to yourself, having learned a new respect for your heart and the joy that dwells deep within slow time. Isn't that beautiful? And though the spirit is willing and the flesh is weak, my dear friends, we have the most perfect role model in Jesus, the barefoot Galilean, who incarnated as the Christ, the Son of God, and who, born in a stable, lived a simple life. Yes, his spirit was willing, but in his humanity, he realized that he had to become a man of discipline. And that's what we have to do. Though the spirit is willing and the flesh weak, we have to exercise discipline, commitment to prayer, to meditation, to silence. And when we feel the maddening crowd overtaking us in the fast lane, that is time when we retreat and go into solitude, go into silence, and listen to the beloved speak to our heart messages of hope. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not fear, for I am the God who saves you. And I am with you always until the end of time. Such words are music for our soul. And if you are feeling battle weary today, remember this, you're not alone. You are surrounded by brothers and sisters who, like you, love the same God and who are discouraged from trying and trying again. But we get up, we rise up, and we allow the majesty of God touch us. Namaste.